We're now going to have a welcome to D.C. remarks by Okay. We have Executive Director Ramona Edelin.
Thank you so much. Welcome to D.C. How many of you are actually from D.C.? A few. Oh, wow. Well, welcome. Welcome, brothers from D.C. I had a few precious moments in the very beginning when I was the only woman in the room, and I got so much lovely attention. I really appreciate that. Thank you much. Listen, what you are engaged in could not be more important. Couldn't be more important, I hope, to you, definitely to me, to your sons and your fathers and those yet to come. I hope it is a very productive, organizing time. Talking is one thing, organizing is another. And if I know my dear brother Travian, with whom I've worked for more than 15 years, it's both. It's getting to know one another and developing a bond. You have to have that bond in order to make the organizing work. But then it's also organizing. Be me, but then what are you going to do? Organizing has everything to do with that. I only have a few moments today, but I will be seeing many of you through the course of your convention, and I look forward to that. I really do. I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible. We can talk about culture, we can talk about education, and we can certainly talk about the beauty of black men. There is a verse from Job that I'd like to leave you with, and it says, "You will decide upon a matter, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on all your ways." Thank you for being you.
Okay, so you probably see in your program that Ramona is the head of the DC Association of Public Charter Schools. I think I got that right. What you could not possibly have seen in there is that this woman is my mentor. I came to DC a zillion years ago as a 20-something, and Ramona was running the National Urban Coalition here, which is a civil rights organization that was created in the days of the riots in the late 60s. And I was 20-something, I don't remember. I was that age where you know everything, but you haven't done that much. And Ramona put me in charge of this program after knowing me 10 minutes. And I felt that responsibility and that trust and tried to do my best to honor the responsibility given to me. But the thing I remember is it was a fellowship program, and year after year people would come in, and every single class that came in, by the end of the year, they themselves start referring to her, and by the way, these are all 20-somethings too, but by the end of the year, they just start referring to her on their own as the Queen Mother because it just fit. And one other thing about the sister that she probably would never say, but I'm going to go ahead and say, I remember sitting in the office and I was flipping through some files back when they did files on paper. Some of y'all know about that, but I found some paper, and there was a proposal, and the proposal was all about getting people in this country to refer to us as African American. It never occurred to me that somebody sat down and thought out that we should do that, and then hatched a plan to get people to adopt that usage in the 80s. And this is the woman who came up with with the idea that we should call ourselves African American. So, with this woman as my mentor, I had to step my game up. So, my chief, my friend, my mentor. Next, I'd like to invite to the stage someone that I met when we were both, again, even younger, actually. We were part of something called the Black Student Leadership Network. This was a lot of students who had studied, what happened in the Civil Rights era, the Ella Baker Movement and Institute, and then decided to jump up and make it happen in the real world now. Fast forward all this time, now she is the queen mother of DC Public Schools and still a wonderful sis. So please give a Be Me welcome to Kaya Henderson.
I don't think I've ever had entrance music before, but I'll take it. Welcome. My name is Kaya Henderson, and I'm the Chancellor of DC Public Schools, and I have the best job in America. I am charged with providing a world-class education to 48,000 young people, and DC Public Schools has not always been a high-performing school district, but in fact, historically, it was the place for Black people to come to get the best education in America. The first public high school for African Americans started right here in Washington, D.C., and it is continuously operated for over 100 years. It's Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. And we just did a $120 million renovation on this historical school that was the mecca for young people to come from all over the country, young African Americans to come. And part of what made Dunbar so special, besides the fact that it was the first public school for African Americans, is that the teachers came largely from where? If you had to take a guess. They came from all over, but they came to the other mecca. They came to Howard University, where they, in fact, graduated with bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and doctoral degrees, and came from Howard to teach at this first high school for our young people. And so, if you walk into the halls of Dunbar High School, you'll see Nobel Prize winners, you'll see postage stamps, 7 postage stamps, right, with African Americans on them that graduated from Dunbar High School. This is a place, this is a city that has a rich education heritage for us. But over time, like in many of your cities, the urban school district began to decline. But I'm here to tell you today that we are no longer declining. We are, if you ask Arnie Duncan, the Secretary of Education, the fastest improving urban school district in this country. And it's important because, as many of you know, even though the demographics are changing rapidly, again, just like they are in your city, DC has historically been known as Chocolate City. And still, the vast majority of young people in the schools that I serve are African American, the growing Latino population. Although now some of my other friends want to come back to this school district because now we're doing all right. You know how that goes. Good, that's good. We're a public school system. We welcome all. But the reason that I came to be Chancellor of DC Public Schools is because I know that education is a game changer for us. My family lived in the projects for 47 years. And we moved on up into the middle class because of a good public education system in Mount Vernon, New York. And I know that if we can create a great public education system in Washington, D.C., we can turn out young people that look like us, that literally can go anywhere from the head of a classroom to the head of a corporation to the head of this country. That's what we have come to do in D.C. Public Schools. We also know, you can clap for that. We also know that if we're going to do that, we have to be specific in how we do it. 43% of the young people that I'm responsible for are African American or Latino males. And as many of you know, while we are improving, our young men are not improving as quickly as their peers are. And what we've decided in Washington, D.C. is that we're going to do something very different about that. We believe that we can't be a world-class urban school district in Chocolate City preparing young people for corporations and the head of the country unless our brothers are succeeding, unless our brothers have the opportunity to lead the way. And so in January, we announced, and in fact, what's ironic about it is we are the only city in America where the top 3 government officials are women. The mayor is a woman, the police chief is a woman, and the school's chancellor is a woman. And we with our all-girl band, have decided to commit $20 million over the next 3 years to an Empowering Males of Color initiative. Between government money and private funds, we are committing $20 million to build an all-boys high school that prepares our young people for college in partnership with Urban Prep out of Chicago, which graduates 100% of their young men to go to college. We are raising money to provide grants for community organizations to partner with our schools to develop community-driven solutions for how we support our young men and boys. We're raising money to ensure that we have at least 500 mentors at the beginning of this coming school year to be with the 1,400 elementary school boys who are behind on their reading. We know each and every one of their names, and we're going to ensure that they all have mentors. Each man will have 3 young men that they work with over the course of the year, because we know our brothers need bigger brothers. And we're pioneering some work around preparing teachers to support African American boys in early childhood settings, and we're doing a few other things. And when we announce this, you would think, woohoo, this is great, right? Oh, Lord have mercy, child. The ACLU called. You can't do that. I had the National Women's Law Center called, Title IX. I had a city councilman who forbade us from spending government money on this. And the mayor stood with us. Our attorney general, who is an African American man, stood with us, and he said, look, we can do this and we will do this. You know you're doing the right thing when the forces of evil come against you, right? They've said, if you do it for boys, you have to do it for girls. And I said, let me explain something to you. You won't pit us against one another. You won't pit us against one another. The very first organizations that stood up for mentoring were the African American sororities, right? They said, we want to help, we want to mentor. And no matter what the other people say, and we got lawyers, this is Washington, D.C., we got a whole lot of lawyers, right? We'll fight. And in the meantime, in the years that it takes for this thing to wind through court, I'm gonna open a brand new boys' school in 16. I'm gonna keep on with the mentoring. We will not stop. So I want to welcome you to a place that shares your values. I want to welcome you to a place that is training the next generation of you. I want to welcome you to a place that is not afraid to put their money where their mouth is, to put our reputation on the line, and to fight, because that's what it's going to take for us to be successful in rebuilding our communities. Welcome to Washington, D.C.